Now, if you look at question, it's good. The question number 1. Here you can question number 1. Following statement. First statement is can be by the resolution passed by majority of the members present and voting house. Now here is question of law. Now how first removal of the speaker. Now when the speaker removal resolution requires 15 days prior notice. The resolution passed by a majority. That is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha can be removed by a resolution passed by majority of the members present and voting. Now, here can be removed by effective majority. When minus vacant. For example, people student 5. Now consider there are vacant. Vacant is 499. Have to just 52 plus 1. So this is not correct. Now work and conduct of the speaker may be in the. So you look at both statements are not correct. Work and conduct of the speaker cannot be criticized in the because and now let me move. Question number of the Lok Sabha. Consider following statement. Here again can vote when members of the Lok Sabha are equally divided. What it is when a speaker of the Lok Sabha can vote, of course, when the equal in that case of the Lok Sabha vote, that is called casting vote. That is called casting vote. So in that case, you see, you can vote when the members of the Lok Sabha are equally divided. It is correct. This statement is, look at the later statement. He presides over the joint sitting of the parliament. Yes. Speaker presides the joint sitting of the parliament. Now he can decide the question on disqualification, but his decision is subject to judicial review. Look at this is also correct. The Speaker of the House of the Lok Sabha is the final authority regarding question of disqualification, but his decision can be reviewed by the court. Recently, you must have seen in the news that Maharashtra Speaker, the Speaker of the Maharashtra State Assembly has decided the question of disqualification in case of, right. So basically here you see that all statements are correct. So here you see all statements are correct. Now let me move to the next question. Question number 3. Which one of the following is not correct about national emergency? So this is question about national emergency. Article 352 basically governs national emergency. So it is the constitutional duty of the Union to protect every state against external aggression. Right, Article 359. So yes, it is correct. When a national emergency is declared, rights under Article 19 are automatically suspended. Rights under Article 19, that is right to speech and expression, is automatically. Now, you can see Article 20 and 21 includes in Part 3 of the Constitution cannot be suspended. Yeah, it also cannot be suspended. Article 21 and both are the fundamental rights deals with, yeah, and that cannot be suspended during national emergency. Each house of the parliament must pass a resolution with a simple majority before the declaration of emergency. No, there is no necessity, right? There is no necessity. So D would be the correct, right? Only cabinet should give a written. Cabinet should give a written, right? In written to president to implement emergency, national emergency. Right. Now see the fourth question. Consider the following statements. If the president is satisfied, national emergency can be imposed on the part of Indian territory. But you know, satisfaction of the president is not. The satisfaction of the president is not. The president can proclaim national emergency only when the Council of Ministers communicate him to in writing. Yeah, this is correct. This is correct. So 1 is not correct, 2 is correct. You can see B is correct answer. Yes. Right. So if you look at the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, which made some revision in the power of the president, right? And in that case, you see, the Council of Ministers has to give something written to the president in order to the president can implement national emergency, impose national. Now, you can see this, the next question. In the context of national emergency, consider the following statement. The 38th Amendment Act of the Constitution made it immune from judicial review. Yeah, it is right. If you look at the 38th Amendment Act, the 38th Constitutional Amendment Act basically restricted power of the president. And the declaration, right, made immune to the judicial review. The judiciary cannot review on it, right? The 42nd Amendment made it immune from parliamentary inquiry. Such parliamentary inquiry, yeah, this is also correct. Impossible. The Supreme Court held that the proclamation of a national emergency can be challenged on the grounds of mala fide national. Also correct. So all the statements are correct regarding national emergency. The text. Here, the Parliament of India acquires the power to legislate on any item in the state list in the national interest if a resolution to that effect is passed by whom? The Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha? Yeah, this is Article 49. Article 249 of the Indian Constitution says, if the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution with a special majority, right, a special majority, right, then the Parliament of India automatically acquires power to legislate on any item in the state list. So here it is a Rajya Sabha and majority is not less than 2/3 of its member present and voting. Right? So it's a special majority. The Rajya Sabha needs special majority to pass such a resolution. Just simple majority. Now look at next question. For election to the Lok Sabha, a nomination paper can be filed by. Who can file a nomination paper? Consider tomorrow you want to test election for MP, Member of Parliament. Now the question comes here that who can file nomination paper? Anyone residing in India? Can anyone residing in India, including foreign? No. A resident of constituency from which the election to be contested? Not necessarily, yes, they can, but there are other criteria. A resident of the constituency? Right? No. Any citizen of India whose name appears in the electoral roll of the constitution. So any citizen whose electoral नाम होना चाहिए election list में. ऐसा नहीं कि a citizen of India नाम ही नहीं है and you can contest election. You cannot. Your name must be there in the electoral roll. And then so C would be the correct answer. You know who makes basically electoral roll? The Election Commission of India actually prepares and revises electoral roll periodically, right? Every year they revise, electoral roll. So whose name is on electoral roll? Any citizen whose name appears in the electoral rolls can file a nomination, right? If you are a voter, you can contest election. Don't worry. Now look at this question and see what concept we can decode. Consider the following statement. In the election for the Lok Sabha or the State Assembly, the winning candidate must get at least 50% of the votes polled to the declared elected. No. The winning candidate, it's not necessary that winning candidate at least cross the 50% threshold of the total vote. 50% of the total vote. No, this is not a rule. According to provision laid down in the Constitution of India, the Lok Sabha, the speaker post goes to the majority party, the deputy speaker to the opposition. According to the provision laid down in, see, there is no such a provision. But there is that is a tradition, conventions, right? Therefore, if you look at both, neither one is correct. No, neither one is correct. D is correct. Neither one. So this is not correct. This is not according to Constitution, but according to the convention, parliamentary convention. Now, see next question. Which one of the following statements is correct about the legislative power between states? The parliament can make law on the state in time of national emergency, is it? During national emergency, what happens? The legislative power goes in the hand of the union government, right? So parliament can make law for state, right, during the national emergency. The center and the state both can make law on subjects enlisted in the concurrent. So that time, actually, the 44th Amendment to the Constitution transferred education in list. The center and the state both can make law on the listed. So yes, during that time, parliament can law for the state in the state can also make law. Yeah, center can also make law. The 44th Amendment to the Constitution transfers education in the concurrent list. No, it is a 42nd Amendment transferred education to the concurrent list. The Rajya Sabha can empower the parliament to make law with respect to goods and services. So if you look at GST, GST has been created after the Rajya Sabha has passed a resolution, right? So look at the next question. The Parliament of India can exercise control over the functions of the Council of Ministers through. Now look at, you know that Parliament is an institution of accountability. Parliament is an institution of accountability. Now, how Parliament ensures accountability of the government? Right? Parliament ensures accountability. How? Now, Parliament ensures accountability, let me tell you, through Parliamentary Committee. To Parliamentary Committee, because Parliamentary Committee actually examines, right, and scrutinizes well. It enables Parliament. It scrutinizes budget. You know, it scrutinizes the report, audit report submitted by the CAG, and therefore through this way, Parliamentary Committee actually ensures accountability of the Parliament. Secondly, if you look at no confidence motion, no confidence motion. This is the second tool that Parliament have to ensure accountability of the government. If the Parliament, if the Lok Sabha, you know that this no confidence motion cannot be introduced in the Rajya Sabha. It can be introduced in the Lok Sabha. If Lok Sabha passes no confidence motion, the government falls, government collapse. So this is one, you know. Second, now look at third. Third is the opposition. Opposition ensures accountability of the government. How? If you look at opposition asks a very different or very difficult question. They criticizes government. They provides alternative policy. Right? They ask question on the behalf of the people to the government. Right? So if you look at a healthy democracy must have a healthy opposition. Right? Accountable, you know, as much as opposition is effective, the government would be more accountable. Otherwise, government turned into authoritarian. When opposition is weak, opposition is fragment. And therefore, the opposition is very much necessary in democracy to ensure accountability of the government or the Council of Ministers. Now, fourth, if you look at, there are parliamentary devices. Parliamentary devices through which the parliament ensures accountability. So what are those parliamentary devices through which parliament actually ensures accountability? Let me tell you, this is a different kind of motion, right? Like for example, question hour. What is question hour? Question hour is the first hour of the parliament. Now, parliament begins with question hour. When parliament begins? Parliament begins at 11 a.m. Right? I told you that the first hour. So, only till 12 o'clock. 11 a.m. to 12 noon, it is called question hour. What happens during the question hour? During the question hour, the members of the parliament ask question to the minister and the ministers reply, right? Ministers answers, right, basically to the question posed by members. So, question hour is a one device. Then 0 hour. What happens in 0 hour? 0 hour, the second hour. 0 hour just starts after the question hour in the parliament. So you can see that 12 and it continued till the lunch. This is 0 hour. This is very much Indian invention, 0 hour. Right? British Parliament does not have such provision, right, or such procedures. So what happens in 0 hour? In 0 hour, no, the members of the parliament ask question and the speaker or the ministers reply. The ministers actually respond. So if you look at question hour, it's same as in the 0 hour, there are different. There is a difference. Now what happens during the question hour? If you look at during this hour, members ask question and ministers give reply orally as well as written reply. Now during the 0 hour, there is no need to give written reply. And during 0 hour, member can ask very urgent good question. For example, question of today or yesterday. But if you look at question hour, during question hour, right, member submits basically for questions 15 days ago, at least 7 days ago, to get a response from ministers during the question hour. But in 0 hour, minister asks question, just one-to-one question, right? So 0 hour is one of the. Then there are supplementary question. Yeah, member can ask supplementary question, adjournment motion. So these all are motions and questions are very much instrument for the members of the parliament to ensure accountability, right? So here see, the parliament controls, right, over the government, over the council of ministers, that is government, to all this, right? So all three, 1, 2, 3 would be correct. Parliament is an institution of accountability. Okay. Now look at this question. This question is based on coalition government. How you can see in the parliament there are coalition government since 1990. or even if we have history of coalition government just before beyond 90. Let's see this question about the coalition government. Coalition government is a government formed by more than one party. Right? So, which of the following statement regarding the coalition government of India is not correct? Council coalition government is one in which multiple political parties, any political party come together in coalition. What happens? What is coalition? Coalition का मतलब ही होता है, the meaning of coalition is come together and grow together, right? Come together and grow together, right? समझ गए होंगे. Coalition का मतलब ही होता है come together and grow together. So when more or one or more, two or more party come together to form a government, is called coalition government. All the central coalition government in India are the result of post-election political party. No, this is not. There are, if you look at coalition government, there are two types on the basis of poll. One is called pre-poll coalition. What do you mean pre-poll coalition? Pre-poll coalition is a coalition formed before election. For example, UPA or NDA. This coalition was formed just before election. Now look at India. How you have India Alliance, right? You have India Alliance. This is before election. Now what is post coalition? There are post poll. What is post-poll coalition? A coalition which is formed after election. If you look at all central coalition government in India are the result of post-election among the. There are pre-poll. At national level, the first coalition government in India, of independent India was formed by under the leader of Janata Party government. Yes. Now, after the national emergency, there was a 1977. In 1977, you can see that Janata Party was the first coalition government, post independent. After the fall of P.V. Narasimha Rao government, all government at the center were formed by coalition of one or more political parties. So B is not correct. Look at even the current government at the center is a coalition government. However, if you look at, although BJP has full majority, but it has coalition partners. It has coalition partners. Look at the statement here. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha can be removed by the resolution passed by majority of the representing. How we have done this. Look at a privilege motion. Which of the following statement is not correct regarding the privilege motion moved in the House of the Parliament? Right? It can be moved against any cabinet ministers, including the Prime Minister. Privilege motion, yeah. The Speaker can decide on the privilege motion himself or herself, or refer to the privilege committee of the. Correct? Deputy chairperson heads the committee of the privilege in the Rajya Sabha. Both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have member in the member of the committee of privilege committee. Recently, privilege committee was privilege motion. It is asking which is not correct. It can be moved against any cabinet minister. It is correct. It can be moved against any minister. The speaker can decide on this privilege motion himself or herself, refer to the, this is also correct. The deputy chairperson heads the committee of the privilege in the Rajya Sabha. The chairperson, tax official. Both the speaker, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have a 15 member of the committee of the privilege. Yeah, privilege committee has. Now look at right question. Which of the following statements is correct regarding lapsing of a bill on the dissolution of the Lok Sabha? A bill passed by both the houses but returned by the president for the consideration does not lapse. It is correct. It does not lapse. A bill called for joint sitting by the president does not lapse. It is also does not. A bill passed by the Lok Sabha but pending in the Rajya Sabha does not lapse. It is also not lapse. A bill pending in the Rajya Sabha but not passed by the Lok Sabha does not lapse. It lapse. Is in. Now what happens, a bill must be passed by the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, right? And then it goes to the president. It goes to the president for approval. Now consider bill is passed by both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and then thereafter Lok Sabha dissolved. A bill does not lapse. That case, right? Consider a bill passed by the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and the president actually returned the bill to the house. It does not lapse. So second house will consider the bill. Right? A bill not passed by the Lok Sabha but pending in the Rajya Sabha. That means bill has originated in the Rajya Sabha, not reached to the Rajya Sabha. Now consider the money bill can be introduced in the Lok Sabha on the recommendation of the president. After the money bill passes in the Lok Sabha, it is transmitted to the Rajya Sabha for consideration. Rajya Sabha should return the bill within 14 days with or without return. Now let me teach you a little bit. Now if you look at bill, what is bill? Right? Bill is a draft proposal. Right? Intended to bring new law. Bring a new law or to amend existing law. That is a bill. Right? Now, if you see the bill can be divided into two parts. One is called government bill. The government is the agency which introduces the bill, and most of the bill, right, introduced by government, but there are also called private member bill. This is also called private member bill. Now, what is private member bill? No, what is government? Government means Council of Ministers. Government means the Council of Ministers. Right? So those member of the House who is not member of the Council of Ministers are private members. So any member. So in parliament, if you look at, if this is a parliament, there are two types of member. One is called minister and that is called private member. Right. So any member of the house who is not part of the council of ministers, who is not a minister, can be called private member. So private member also introduces a bill. Right. Now, if you look at government, it introduces several types of bill. If you look at government bill, it has many types. First is called ordinary bill. What is ordinary bill? Ordinary bill is a bill which is related to ordinary matter. Now, what is ordinary matter? You can see that most of the matters are ordinary matters, like marriage, like traffic, pollution, industry, employment. These all are ordinary matters. Now, then there is called money bill. Now, what is money bill? Basically, money bill is defined by Article 110 Clause 1. 110 Clause 1 basically defines what is the money bill. Now, what is money bill? Now, any bill which consists imposition, remission, alteration of taxes, that can be called money bill, or the custody of the consolidated fund of India, or any bill consists regarding borrowing loans or repayment of loans of the government of India, right, or declaring any issue as a charge upon the consolidated fund. These all are money bill. Now, if you look at few things, you must remember, money bill can be introduced in the Lok Sabha only. MB can be introduced in the Lok Sabha only, not in the Rajya Sabha, first thing. And it can be introduced with prior recommendation of the President. Prior recommendation of the President is important. Prior recommendation of the President is important in order to introduce money bill. Right. Thirdly, who will decide whether a particular bill is a money bill or not? It is a Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Speaker is the final authority. Whether a particular bill is money bill or not. Is he final authority? It is written in the Article 109. Yes. Speaker of the Lok Sabha is a final authority to decide whether particular bill, whether any bill is a money bill or not. And let me tell you, in 2016 there was some changes, right? What are the changes? Basically, if you look at Parliament introduced our bill as a money bill in 2016, and the Supreme Court declared that was actually that decision within the parliament was challenged in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court heard that issue and give a very vital judgment. What is that vital judgment? The vital judgment was that the Speaker is a final authority whether to decide whether a particular bill is a money bill or not, but his decision is not final. His decision can be reviewed by the court. Look at. So, Speaker is a final authority whether a particular bill is a money bill, but his decision is under review of the court. Court can review on it. Right? Now, next thing that you should remember that Rajya Sabha has a list regarding money bill. Rajya Sabha has likely no power, because when money bill is introduced in the Lok Sabha and passed it is transferred to the Rajya Sabha, on which Rajya Sabha 14 days can discuss. It cannot edit, it cannot have any authority to it, right? And within 14 days, Rajya Sabha has to transfer that money bill to the Lok Sabha. Otherwise, the money bill deemed to be passed by the Rajya Sabha. If Rajya Sabha has not returned that bill within 14 days. Secondly, Rajya Sabha can give some recommendation, right? Now, this recommendation can be accepted or not. This is totally dependent on the will of the Lok Sabha. So, here you can see how given the statement, money bill can be introduced in the Lok Sabha on the recommendation of the President. Yes, it can be. After the money bill passed in the Lok Sabha, it has transferred to Rajya Sabha for consideration. Yeah. Rajya Sabha should return the bill within 14 days with or without recommendation. All state. Right. Let me move to another bill, which is called financial bill. Right, and then you have fourth bill called constitutional amendment bill. This fourth bill will be introduced by the government. Now look at the next question. Which one of the following statement is not correct? The legislative procedure is identical in both the House of the Parliament. The legislative process or the process of lawmaking is identical, it is similar in both the houses, Lok Sabha as well as the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have identical power in all categories of bill. No, not in all categories of bill, because if you look at money bill, Lok Sabha has more power, right? So it's not that. So Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have not identical power, all categories of bills. An ordinary bill can be introduced in the either house of the Parliament. Yeah, ordinary bill can be introduced in either house of the Parliament, either in the Sabha or Lok Sabha. Now, every bill after being passed by both the houses of the Parliament needs the assent to become. So here he is. Let's move to the question. The Indian government budget consists of the expenditure charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India, the expenditure made from the consolidated. Both. Now let me talk about what is Consolidated Fund of India. What is consolidated? Consolidated मतलब होता है इकट्ठा, fund मतलब पैसा of India. Now this is a major source of, you can say a government account where all receipts, right, all money is actually credited and debited, right? सारा पैसा यहीं से, सारा पैसा यहीं आता है और यहीं से जाता है, right? That is consolidated. And if you look at Article 266, Clause 1 deals with Consolidated Fund of India. Now, if you look at the Consolidated Fund of India has two types of expenditure. I already told you that all income, सारा income यहीं पर होता है और expenditure भी यहीं से होता है, इनकम भी होता है और एक्सपेंडिचर भी होता है. पूरा हम एक्सपेंडिचर की बात कर लेते हैं. There are two types of expenditure from Consolidated Fund of India. इससे जो एक्सपेंडिचर होता है, खर्चा होता है, वो दो तरीके का होता है. एक का नाम है एक्सपेंडिचर चार्ज अपॉन, एक्सपेंडिचर चार्ज अपॉन, और अभी कभी ऑन लिखा रहता है, राइट? एक्सपेंडिचर चार्ज अपॉन द कंसोलिडेटेड फंड ऑफ इंडिया, द कंसोलिडेटेड फंड ऑफ इंडिया. That is really. Now let me tell you a speciality about this expenditure. So, all high dignitary gets money from expenditure charged upon, like like president, right, vice president, like the Supreme Court and High Court judges, right, UPSC, Bagh. And let me tell you, this expenditure is not a votable part during the budget. This expenditure is not votable. This बजट में वोट नहीं होगा. The parliament can discuss on, parliament cannot vote. So second is expenditure made from. Expenditure made from the consolidated fund. Now this is basically part of the budget where the parliament makes scrutiny, discuss it and vote on it. All the departments, major departments, Ministry of External, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Education, Ministry of this, Ministry of that, it's all money from there. So that you remember to now let's see the few questions. With reference to the Constitution, consider the following statement. In every financial year, the President shall cause to be laid before both the House of the Parliament a statement of estimate. That is Article 1.1. Remember, that is called annual financial annual financial statement. The expenditure charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India must be submitted to the vote of the Lok Sabha. No. Recently I have discussed that expenditure charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India should not be submitted to the Parliament for the vote. Parliament can have a discussion over it, right? Parliament cannot vote on it. So you can see only one statement. Statement number 1 is correct. Others are. See the next question. In the context of the budget, consider the following statements. It is an annual financial statement of the Government of India. Yes. I told you that. 112. The Parliament can reduce or abolish tax but cannot increase it. Yes. Right. Why? If you look at it, is a only government which increases taxes. It is not Parliament. Parliament का काम ही नहीं है वो. Parliament करता क्या है? Parliament control करता है. It can reduce it. Right? It can compel the government to abolish the certain tax. Parliament cannot increase tax. Who increases tax? The government. So this statement is correct. No demand for a grant shall be made except the recommendation of the President. Right? No demand. Right? No demand can be grant. No demand for a grant shall be made except the recommendation of all three are correct. All three are correct. Consider the following statements about parliamentary privileges in the Parliament. It is available to the members of the Parliament. The Constitution has extended the parliamentary privileges to the Attorney General of India. Yeah, both are correct. It is extended to the President of India, who is the integral part of the Parliament. Yes, it is. All three. The term guillotine refers to. You must have heard about guillotine. Guillotine is a special cut motion which reduces entire discussion. Put all demand to vote without discussion, passing a law regarding vote in the Parliament, upholding the principle of a responsible government, pass the annual financial statement without discussion in the Parliament. What is guillotine? Guillotine is called when the Parliament put the discussed part along with the undiscussed part and passes it. Right? The budget. Right. So put all demand to vote without discussion, passes the annual financial. All demand. So both seems similarly. Right? I mean, both things. Passing a law, this is not B. Both seem similar. Put all demands to vote without discussion, pass the annual financial without discussion. Both seems similar state. Put things without discussion, pass it. Look at the next question. Consider the following terminology used in Parliament, proceedings. Expansion is the deletion of words, phrase, expression, crossing of records, or crossing the floor means passing between the members, addressing the House of the Chair, and expansion is the deletion of. Look at the next one. With reference to the ordinance, which is the following statement is not incorrect. It can be challenged in a court of law under Article 13. Ordinance can challenge, yes. The governor can bring ordinance only with the advice of the council of ministers. Now, ordinance के लिए advice की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है, but Salary and allowances of the temporary and permanent executive can be reduced by passing on. The successive is correct. Is not. This is the last question that I will deal with, and then I will stop here. Which of the following statements is correct regarding financial committee of the parliament? The financial committee. Okay. Parliamentary committee. What is parliamentary committee? Basically, what happens in the parliament? Parliament, there are more than approximately 800 members, or in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha there are approximately 800 members. Parliament actually subdivide it in a group, right? And that is called parliamentary committee. So parliamentary committee is a group of MPs. That is parliamentary committee, right? Now, if you look at the work of the parliament, is very voluminous, very large, very wide. Now, the work has to be divided. Like for example, a marriage is a grand celebration, right? Grand occasion, where the work had been divided, in very small group. Similarly, parliamentary work is very voluminous, it's very grand, it is very vast. The work has to be divided, right? To whom? A small group, right? Group of 15, group of 30, group of, that is, each group is called parliamentary. Now, if you look at parliamentary committee, right, there are two types of parliamentary committee. One is called a standing committee, and second is called ad hoc committee. Ad hoc committee is always a temporary committee. Committees are made and given certain assignment. When committee has finished its work, committee is resolved. Let me give you an example. During COVID-19, you can see the parliament has made an ad hoc committee to understand the extraordinary situation posed by COVID-19 pandemic. And when pandemic was done, then now if you look at that, committee had been dissolved. So that is ad hoc committee. Ad hoc committee is always temporary committee. Temporary. Now what is a standing committee? A standing committee, now you can see the permanent committee, it is a permanent committee. In the parliament. Now there are several types of a standing committee, several types of permanent committee in the parliament. That is called parliamentary committee, right? Now first is called financial, right? If you look at financial committee, it means any parliamentary committee which look matter of finance. Now here you have three committee which looks into the finance. One is public account committee. Here you see public account committee, which is the first financial committee. Second is estimate committee. And third is called committee on public undertaking. These all are financial committee. Apart from it, you can see there are department related standing committee. department related standing. What does it mean? Means, there are department, for example, Department of Law, Department of Finance, Department of, Children and Women, right? Department of Social Justice, right? So there are, different departments have their own committee, right? So that is departmental related standing committee, and approximately 24 departmental standing committee actually are, working in Indian Parliament. Now come to another committee. Yes, there is another committee called Privilege Committee. Privilege Committee, right? Ethics Committee, Ethics Committee, Committee on, for Library Committee, right? There are several types of committee. Committee on Subordinate Legislation, Committee on SC and ST, Committee on Women. So there are many committees. Now look at the question: which of the following statements is correct regarding Financial Committee of the Parliament? Now the committee, while acting as an executive body, can issue an order. Yeah, it can issue an order. The committee, while acting as an executive body, can issue an order. Let me read all. The Public Account Committee must suggest an alternative policy to bring efficiency and effectiveness. Public Account Committee, yeah, that's the Public Account. The work of the Standing Financial Committee is in the nature of post-mortem. The recommendation of the committee is binding in nature. This is wrong. And all are right. Now, which of the following is not correct? Will be the question. He is not correct, because if you look at all the above, so this is the last question that we discussed. In the next episode, we will talk about judiciary. Especially, we will focus on subordinate judiciary. With this, I'll stop here. See you in the next episode. In the policy, the prelim support program, 2 topics.